Hello, everybody. So we have both French and English panel conversation about the topic of relocalization. We will mostly speak in English because we have more English speakers. So you can take headsets to hear the conference in your language. And at the end of the conference, you are very welcome to ask all your questions to the participants. So let's start by a 3-minute introduction from all our speakers. In this sense, Fabienne.
Good morning, Fabienne Indré. I'm business developer at CETI, Centre Européen des Textiles Innovants, located in the north of France. Our role, it's a place where we have high-tech softwares and hardwares, and to help brands and industrials to prototype fabrics, products and processes, which aims is to support new business model to relocate and to eco-conceive product.
Just to say that the purpose of the roundtable is more made in local and optimization of the value chain than really relocation. So compared to the workshop we had just before. Vous pouvez parler français pour les intervenants qui parlent français. Il y a des casques de traduction simultanée pour ceux qui parlent qu'anglais pour vous comprendre. Voilà, je le dis pour ceux qui seraient plus confortables en français. Kirsten.
Yes, hi. So my name is Kirsten, and I'm the head of business unit buyers at Forsource. Forsource is located in Berlin and also in Porto. So Forsource is a market network for buyers and suppliers where we connect all partners of the value chain of the textile industry. So you can basically log in at our platform as a buyer or supplier and source your next business partners directly, digital, and quick and easy. So this is Forsource made for.
Thank you. Clea?
Hello. So I'll try in English. My name is Clea Pollard, and I'm the CEO of Coco & Rico. Basically, Coco & Rico work with big companies, corporate companies, and young fashion designers to help them to develop and produce their collections, garments or accessories. But we have strong commitment in being sustainable and ethical. So everything is 100% made in France, the garment and the fabric. Everything is completely vegan, and we always work in very short trade.
Thank you. Donatien.
Hello, everyone. So I'm the co-founder of Tekin. So Tekin is a team of 60 people, and we developed the digital and robotic technologies to enable the best of on-demand production. And more generally, we develop all the technologies to connect all the players of the production of a garment. So we will start from the brands, going through the workshops until the waivers. And by developing all the interfaces through mobile application platform, web platform, and robotic connected, we get all the information throughout the supply chain, which enable the brand to make decision in real time and to decide week after week how they're going to adjust the production based on what the market needs. So we started the company 4 years ago. We are now working with 30 players, 15 brands, and we prove that producing only what is going to be sold is much more profitable, has a much more environmental and social impact as well.
Thank you. Yokai Studio.
Hello, my name is Victor Weichselbaumer. I'm the co-founder and lead developer of Yokai Studios. We are based in Austria. On the left side of me is my colleague, Michael Wieser.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm the creative director of Yokai Studios. We are a creative agency based in Austria. Our main pillars of work are show, educational, and consulting. Yoka Studios started as a research project, also looking into the fields of robotics. We are offering show experiences for fairs and events where we use a robotic prototype to on-demand print on textiles. We are doing workshops in that field as well, and we are offering consultants for brands and individuals in their journey to translating their businesses into the digital world.
When it comes to the educational part, we have a strong connection to the art university, as we both are also working as researchers in research project fashion and robotics, where we really day-to-day work on the future visions, how to be able to produce on demand. And that's one of the things where we really have a lot of enjoyment when we are able to work with students, and also to be able to give some know-how and tools in the hands of young people, which really are trying to design things and do the world in a little different way. Yeah.
Thank you. So the question of local manufacturing for less dependence on import is at the heart of economic news, but we are on a global sourcing event. And my question is made in local something desirable and realistic? Who wants to start?
Completely. So as I was saying, everything that we are doing at Coco Erico, and we work with a lot of very big company, and we do a lot of products. Everything is 100% made in France. I'm talking mercery, I'm talking fabric, I'm talking the manufacturer, and it's profitable for them, for us. So it's completely possible. And it's not just possible, it's way easier, because you don't depend of any kind of perturbation of import. It's a little bit more expensive to work in France, but you can gain the cost of import, and you have more flexibility, more agility. I don't see anything against working 100% locally. And it's very important also, because you develop really close partnership with the people, because you get to know each other, and it contributes to have also a level of humanity in the production way, because you can, when you know the people you work with, you want to take care of them, you want to work better, because it's about being neighbors, you know.
Okay, that's a very clear positioning. Thank you, Clea. It's true that you have your precise case with Coco Erico is really relevant regarding the COVID situation, because you were the only one to be able to provide, not the only one, but one of the only company able to provide quantities of masks during the crisis.
Yes.
At a moment where importation were stopped.
Exactly. We produce masks for mostly state companies like mairie, government, etc. And we produce like 7 million of masks. At the end of the first step of the pandemic, we were producing 1 million masks each week. I'm not saying that it is a goal to produce 1 million pieces of something each week, obviously. It's not sustainable, but we definitely have the capacity, and what we have done at Coco Erico, it's trying to make all the know-how and all the people working together, because of course one manufacturer cannot do that, but if we all work together, it's possible to make such amazing and bigger thing.
Thank you. So maybe other speakers have another opinion on the question?
Yes.
Or?
Just to add in on the mask topic, we at Yoka Studios, where we are doing our prototypes, in the beginning of the pandemic, with our prototype system, have also been able to produce in quite a short time a way to produce a certain amount of masks. It was not 7 million like this, because we have like a system which is roughly not bigger than 2 square meters, but we were able to really have a prototype which was produced by the robot in after 2 weeks ready to be produced with material which was already there. And we also had the question to have some trims on the mask so that you can adjust the size. And we were able to take just laser cutting materials to create trims by the hand at the moment while we were doing the mask, which was good because, you know, when you have to get trims and things like this, you also have to have a provider, but with just a laser cutter, a standard material and the mask, we were able to produce them in very short time. Yeah, that was just something to add, which I think is very important to see, that the on-demand production is something which has the flexibility that it might need for the future, and also have big opportunities when it comes to customization and the way we use products and production in the future.
Thank you. Any other reaction?
You go first.
Fabienne?
Sorry, I will say, if you say souhaitable, so I will tell it in French. Souhaitable, oui, c'est souhaitable parce que ça permet, en tout cas pour les marques, il faut toujours se remettre du côté métier, c'est important, comme ça, la relocalisation permet aux marques de reprendre la main, toujours pareil, sur leurs produits. Et ça, pour nous, c'est un point clé, un point fort. Donc, voilà, donc ça, c'est souhaitable. Est-ce que c'est possible ? C'est possible parce qu'effectivement, on s'aperçoit qu'avec les nouvelles technologies, on aborde en fait l'organisation interne des entreprises d'une nouvelle façon. Et ça permet également une évolution des métiers en interne qui est également favorable à toute notre filière textile et à toutes les nouvelles générations qui veulent travailler pour l'univers textile. Voilà mon opinion.
Très bien. Kirsten?
Sorry, I waited for the translation.
No problem.
My opinion is, so I think we need to always see it from 2 points of view. So there's like, of course, from a European perspective, it's totally possible to make a local production in Europe, but then you need a lot of automatic systems, you need machines, you need digital connections, because as we all know, there's a reason why the textile industry is not in Europe anymore. So, but we also have to think it in a bigger and more global way, because there's also local sourcing and production for like a buyer in India who wants to produce in India. So there are also, it's not just Europe making something local, it's also the whole world needs to produce local if you want to reduce kind of like logistics, for example, or this kind of import-export business all the time. And all the suppliers I know, they already have a huge network of local suppliers, because most of the time it's much easier for them to buy the fabrics or go for the dyeing factories close by, because they have a strong connection and a strong network in their countries. So we all, from a brand's perspective, for example, you need to change a little bit of the behavior to say, okay, I want my buttons from Turkey, I want my fabric from China, and I want to have the production in Bangladesh, for example. So this is, of course, starts from a brand perspective as well, because the supplier, they can do it, and everything is possible in every country. So me as a brand working in Germany, I can also have a local production all in India. I can have that. So, but I just need to send the right incentives to my suppliers to ask for the right things. So yeah, so this is basically my opinion. Local is the future, yes, but we cannot just think about local, just Europe local, and German local, for example. And if we have it in Europe local, I believe that digital connection and automatic systems and robotics is the future for sure. So we have these examples in Germany. For example, we have a factory washing and laser factory right now. They're building up a whole production. So I like the idea, having the industry back in my country, for sure. I really like the idea. So I think it's good, but we also need to see it in a global aspect as well.
Think global and act local, maybe. So maybe you want to add something, Donatien?
Yeah, I mean, we started taking with the fact that 1/3 of the garments that are produced are never being sold or never being worn. And so the brands now are more and more understanding that they have to think about not the price of the garment they get out of the factory, but how much money they will make on it including the prices of logistics, of discounts, of the impact of the brand, of making discounts. We know some brands that are building huge warehouse to store the product that they are not going to be sold. This is where the industry was 4 years ago. And so as soon as you go from that point, you start thinking about, okay, I don't really care about the price the garment cost, but I really care about how much I'm going to make money out of it and how many I am going to sell at the right price, and am I going to have a very enthusiastic and availability of my products. And this is what we've done at Tekin, is that we prove that by producing locally and by breaking down the production into weekly batches, you make it possible to be very profitable even with higher prices. And I think that's the way forward, and we were speaking with Fabienne just before the talk, that all the brands now are understanding that the price of the garment out of a factory doesn't really matter. What really matters is how much money and how much impact you will have at the end, at the bottom line.
Okay, so my second question is, organizing optimized local sourcing is a real challenge. And as we experienced with the the shortage of masks, could you give some example of how we can reduce the distance traveled by fashion products with current means? I know that you are addressing the challenge with different strategies, low-tech or more high-tech solutions. Who wants to provide an answer to that question?
I think it's an example is something that is already happening at the moment. CAD systems and computer-aided designs are already state-of-the-art in the industry already. Most of the sampling processes, prototyping is already happening fully digital, which already cuts out a lot of transport ways in the sampling process. And I think what we are going to see is the same that happened in the automotive industry, that this data created while the design process and the prototyping process is happening will then be triggering machines in order to produce the garments on demand in the markets where they are needed. So I think it's already happening, and that's, I think, the best example for cutting out the transport ways.
Thank you.
The mass production, I'm sure, because the on-demand production has the biggest promise of being able to cut the masses of overproduction away, as you were mentioning before, which is one of the most important things we have to face as a global society.
So,
Fabienne?
Côté CETI. For us, pour nous, ce qui est important, c'est effectivement, c'est pas tellement les kilométrages parcourus, parce que c'est pas tellement là où il y a de l'impact sur les coûts. C'est plutôt toujours pareil au niveau du sourcing matière, parce que vous pouvez couper, si vous voulez couper, il faut déjà avoir une matière entre les mains et avoir un produit. Donc, ce qui est important, déjà, c'est de peut-être favoriser la relocalisation de la matière et donc la réindustrialisation de la matière en France. Sachant qu'actuellement, notre industrie française est très forte, très solide. Et il y a de très beaux projets qui se créent, notamment autour, entre autres, de la filière lin. Et peut-être également dans votre approche de favoriser donc, la réduction des coûts au niveau du sourcing, c'est se poser la question de fabriquer à partir de matières recyclées, donc de fils recyclés. Donc peut-être voir dans votre organisation, dans vos entreprises, comment vous gérez cette créativité matière en la travaillant à partir du recyclage. Donc maintenant, en plus, il y a plein de techniques différentes. Donc voilà aussi une façon d'aborder la diminution des coûts par la relocalisation, entre autres, de la matière.
Effectivement, mais alors il s'agit, on parle d'habiller non pas seulement les Français, mais pour certaines marques déjà qui adressent des différents marchés, de trouver des solutions aussi, comme on le disait tout à l'heure, en pensant global. Peut-être Kirsten ou Cléa, vous wants to react to this position of the? Of course, we are totally agree that the material has the strongest impact regarding the ecological impact.
La matière, effectivement, relocalisée, c'est en tout cas peut-être trouver des sourcing matières à proximité avec un nombre de kilomètres réduit. Mais voilà, c'est déjà sur la création de la matière elle-même où on peut gagner d'énormes coûts.
Effectivement.
Well, as Donatien and Kirsten and Fabienne, you were saying, it's definitely a global problem and a global issue to think, and there is no one way to solve it. It's not only about being local, it's about being local everywhere. It's how the brands are thinking, how the waste are managing, and what kind of sourcing you are doing. And I think as a company, personally for Cocorico, we need to be more radical in our choice, and we need to be more radical in every kind of choice that we are doing inside of our own company. At Cocorico, for example, you were talking about upcycling. I think 50% of our production is 100% upcycled. So, because for me and for my partners, it was definitely one of the most way to be sustainable. It was to not produce new thing. So every kind of garment that we are doing, one of two of them is made with upcycling sourcing, and I think it's really important to think more globally and to even how the way of you manage the company, even if you are working with some kind of actionnaire, what kind of material you are thinking, the brand you are choosing to work with, every step need to be questioned, and in every answer need to be more radical, because it's not only a subject of sustainable fashion, it's a subject of what kind of world we are building for tomorrow. So yeah, we need to be more radical, and technology is here to help this. I mean, for me, I think.
No, totally agree. I mean, technology is just a mean. We love to think taking that at the same time the company is just a mean. It's a tool to reach an objective, and our objective is to digitalize, but to produce less and better. And as Fabienne was saying, 70% of the carbon emissions of a garment is coming before the cutting of the materials. So if you manage to reduce the number of garments by 30%, you have 30% less material produced, and so you will have the biggest impact. So in our position, we see the local. Our local game will be Europe, because there is so much to be made in Europe, and it's still a bit hard. Economically, for example, for a company like La Redoute to produce something in France, because they have a target price which is still quite low. But thanks to the technology, you really manage to see, okay, I can reduce my impact by producing only what I need, and have the biggest impact. For example, in terms of CO2, you will not look at the kilometers that you go. You will look at how many garments you didn't produce, and this is what this is the challenge we first tackled, and that would be impossible without technology. And now we are at a moment where we want to deliver and make that technology available to all the players.
So I think in optimizing supply chains, there's also one very important topic for if you see it more global. It's like most of the brands, so from a brand's perspective, most of the people, they don't know their supply chain. So they are not able to source local because they even don't know where the cotton is coming from. So the people are like, we all know the tier one supplier, so the direct contact. Maybe it's also an agent, could be an agent as well. And it's okay, but if we want to really change the industry, and if we really want to be more local or more digital from all perspective, and if we want to do the right things, then we also need to be more transparent in our own work. So we need to see where's all the goods are coming from, how can we optimize it, and how can we optimize it together. So with the partners in the supply chain, because the solution is not just saying like, okay, sorry, I'm not buying fabrics from this and this country anymore, because this is not helpful at this point, because I'm a German brand, I just want to produce local. So this is also not sustainable, because there are people behind. So we work in an industry full of humans. So we cannot just stop working in some countries just saying like, okay, ciao, we're leaving because we want to source local. So I think there will be solutions together, and one solution is everyone needs to see what they are doing. What are you doing actually? So the sustainability is about from the inside to the outside. So that means you need to know your supply chain, you need to know where you're working with, you need to know where your goods are coming from. So I worked for a very sustainable brand before, and the biggest challenge was, where's our raw material coming from? So even if you are starting recycling, it's also super nice, but this is also a really it's so many people have no idea. So there are factories building like bottles, and the next side they're recycling it for yarns. So there's a lot of things going on, and I totally see the chances in all of these products and the ideas. But I also think that the basis for everything is transparency, and this is the base for the sourcing, the local sourcing, the digital sourcing, and the future. And we first need to do our homework, and then we think on it a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
so
information is key. So my third question is, producing only what is necessary to order is an ideal that only craftsmanship has so far managed to solve, more or less, at some exception, except for some. But you have definitely of the solution. How can new technologies come to assist brands whose desire is to produce on demand?
Okay, let me take this one. Let me start. So no, it's not only a craftsman business. It's we do that every day. We produce thousands of pieces every day. And we know that we produce one garment, we know that specifically it will be sold and at a good price and with a very low discount, because we know it's going to be sold maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks after. And this is what we've been experiencing for the last 4 years, and it's working, clearly. And it's possible to produce only what we need. So there is, for us, there is no doubt, there is no question about that. It's just radical. It's not coming from us. It's coming from the automotive industry. So in the automotive industry, when you start the construction of a car, most of the time you know that you are going to sell it. And it's coming from the lean manufacturing ideas and all those processes that we apply to the textile industry. So it's not magical. It's just, in French, we call that bon sens. I don't know the name for English. But so it's basic bon sens. Now is maybe with Clea we are a bit too in the clouds and we are a bit too forward, but how do we accelerate that, considering that there is something called global warming that is coming, considering that we need to act, and how do we go much faster on those solutions, because we know it's working, so we just need to duplicate and scale it. So it's not an ideal, it's here, it's a reality, it's bon sens, and yeah, I think our responsibility is to go much faster than what we've experienced until now. And
also bridge the gap between the textile brains, let's say, and the tech viewpoint, because I saw very efficient technology for sizing problems, for instance, but then if the brand is only able to deliver S, M, and L size, it doesn't make any sense to get the measurement of the whole body of the consumers, right? Yep. So it's also how we create the best puzzle with all the different technologies and also skills and humans to solve the problem, right?
Yeah, what you're talking about is just processes, and processes you can change it. And all the brands we're working with are made of incredible people that all want to change, and they want to change fast. And that's what's it's incredible now, and that's what is exciting in this industry, is that everybody wants to change, and everybody wants to change fast. And it's just about thinking, it's just about changing the mindset, changing the point of view, and changing the way people look at their financials, look at their conceptions, and etc. But it's here, we can do it, and we are doing it every day. So.
And actually, you started doing this also.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, me or us I got a traditional fashion background, and we just started working with digital tools, with robotic arms, with 3D scanning technology. And in Europe, we have high-skilled workers. We have the experts here in the fashion industry. And I think more brands should encourage their employees to start to trying around with these technologies, 3D scanning for sizing, you already mentioned it, but also VR technology in order to drape garments digitally. I think we will see that more and more in the future, people in ateliers working with digital tools already in the product creation process, getting everything ready for this digital pipeline, which then ends in the automated production. So it will become totally streamlined from the design process to the manufacturing process. And I think all this knowledge gathered here in Europe with its big heritage of fashion industries, France, Italy, the best examples. I think there's like an exciting time coming in terms of also what is possible in a creative point of view. It will lead to new looks of garments, probably. So.
So if I can also push on this, it's about data management. I think also if you want to create and to produce at the right quantities and at the right time, and as you said, have the right sizes, it's important at the beginning to have the right information managed by the marketing team. So for me, it's also a question of giving back power to each part of a process collection development and to each people in charge and responsibility. So key point at the moment is how the data, you have now several digital tools that exist and that brands are using more and more to know where are the ruptures, les ruptures, taux de rupture, where also you can analyze you do benchmark and you analyze your competitors, and then you recreate your right collection plan, and you are able to manage the right quantities to be produced, to be designed, to be cut, and at the right price.
Clea?
Well, I think on-demand production is not complicated. You are doing it, I am doing it. It was how it was made like thousands of years in France, for example. The pain point is really, and we know it in fashion, it's not really the companies and the manufacturers and the people who are working in fashion, as the designers and so on. The pain point is really the aggressive marketing and the behavior of consumers. I mean, it's the only pain point, mostly, because the other companies sometimes subissent what the orders are. So, and I don't know if we have any solutions to this problem here.
As a consumer, yes.
As a consumer, yes.
We are also wearing clothes.
But as Donatien was saying, we need to be fast and we need to be faster. So we need to be more radical, as I was saying.
And I think what is the most important is all what we're talking about is about giving the right product to the consumer. So is knowing better the consumer needs by brands and being able to deliver the right product.
Completely. And
to be sure, but because all of us, we know that maybe, I mean, in terms of, comment on dit, porte-monnaie, maybe, people will have less and less money to spend to their purchases. So in terms of brands, it's really also challenging to have the right level of expertise to be able to deliver I mean, what your consumer, your targeted consumer want to buy and be able to buy. So this is where also technologies are interesting. I mean, to be developed and to be used.
I think one common point that you have all is that you, in your way, you have understood how to communicate the technologies with the people and the traditional way to make clothes. While it's true that traditional know-how in the past were sufficient to deliver made-to-order clothes and answer a direct demand, but now they have mainly disappeared. This way to produce clothes is really is becoming rare currently, and the technology that the high technology that you are using are also able to deliver on-demand products. But in the end, when we talk about answering the global demands, we have to use both technologies and traditional know-how and make it work together, like we did with ForSource for the question of sourcing. We need the digital skills, but also the physical know-how. So
yeah, I think we need to create totally new supply chains, right? So we need to connect everyone. So actually, we discussed this at ForSource a lot. So having like someone in between, having the buyers on one side, having the suppliers on the other side. So actually, we just need someone in between who makes the technology, to create the products on demand, and then you just send it to the suppliers and they produce it. So it's possible. There is technology on the market, so we can connect the whole supply chain in this way as well. So this is the future. We just have to think it, as you said, radical, from a different point of view, to connect all the players in a different way and in a digital way, and then we can create new supply chains, and also local or global.
Just to add, when I see the e-commerce, how it is done right now, I see a big change in also the way the consumer is getting to the clothes, because the place where you normally just choose maybe one or two colors of a piece will be actually the first step of the production line, as we were talking about when we are really going into on-demand, which basically is a different system than when you do open an online shop right now. Then you are not even really able to put products in which are produced like on demand, because they all the whole e-commerce interface is built like for the system of like having 1,000 pieces, now I sell them, this and that. So there's a lot of opportunities coming in. Not even to mention what comes afterwards with the metaverse, but the e-commerce, there's a interesting change also from the consumer's perspective, I think so.
But yes. Can I ask a question? So if you talk about on demand, it for all of you, it's meant like customized, or is it on demand like, for example, someone posts at Instagram something and you directly can order it, so in a bigger scale, or just in one piece? Ask this question to myself all the time, because for me it's a big difference, because for me on demand is what we see in the market right now as well. So we have the super fast fashion companies producing on demand, basically because they're seeing the trends, they're producing it because they see checking Instagram, and they see the influencer is this posting this, so they're doing on demand basically.
Very good question.
With a very like I would say not the best influence to the whole system and the industry.
Several ways to understand the on-demand.
It's on demand for them.
Yeah,
they read the customer, they produce. That's on demand.
But
right?
It's not about answering the emotions of a consumer. It's not about that. No. It's more about being able to produce what the brand needs, and being also able to produce like whatever quantities is needed, so it's not a rested order, and it's about to be flexible and also to be fast.
Yes, I mean, on demand for us, and I agree with you, the term on demand is exploded in many different ways, and that's what we love in the fashion industry, that there is a lot of creativity. But when we speak about on demand on our side, is for example, this jean, it's a jean fully made in France. There is exactly the same kind of jeans for the last 3 years. There is 5 different raw materials, and there is 6 different sizes, and etc. And every week we produce only the right pieces, and we are not in acceleration of collections and etc. We are really in a way where we do probably the complete opposite what most of buyers are doing here in this trade. Is that going to somebody say I want 3,000 pieces, and okay, I will receive it within 10 or 15 weeks, get it, and then try to push it to the market. This is for us the way the industry should not be organized. The way the industry should be organized should be, okay, I'm going to see my partner. I have a long-term relationship with him. I'm going to book capacity to produce 3,000 pieces. But because I'm digitally organized with him, every week the system will told, okay, I need 115 pieces of that model, and I need 54 pieces of that model, because this is what the market needs. And this is how you solve the issue of overproduction. This is our point.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So yeah, I got this point.
We have the same also analysis at City. You know, on demand, yes, is also is being able, to answer the right quantities for brands, and also, yes, as you said, to be able to answer to customized quantities. So for a brand, that can be very interesting to have a new proposal to consumers, and to have a new offer, and saying, okay, we are able to propose to you to create your own model according, master information you give to them, and then you are able to produce for example, if we think about making a gift for the consumer. And so on demand for us is just to be able to answer right quantities, short lead time, and at the right,
and the challenge on demand production is you don't want to have like thousands of meters of fabric to only produce 300 of jeans, because otherwise you have one problem is solved, but the other one is maybe not solved. So this is why at Cocorico we encourage upcycling, because you are going to buy dead stock, and you can buy only the quantity that you need to deliver in 2 weeks also. And this is why it's important to educate the consumer that the jeans that you maybe see one day on a website can be another fabric 1 week later. It's not about it's about agility and changing. Yeah.
I had this question more specifically addressed to you. Is it that we had these trends around 3D printing? And we thought at certain points that maybe in the future people are going to print their own clothes at home and blah blah blah, and that this technology specifically was able to allow the emergence of competitive digital craftsmanship, but definitely this idea ignores the limits posed by the technology itself. And the machines that are currently available. However, do you think the idea of neocraft future has a future?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I talked a lot about it with colleagues and pattern makers and designers, and we all came to the same conclusion. The way garments look today is caused by limitations of machines we are using to make them, right? It's the way we are constructing an arm, for example, it's meant to be sewn by the sewing machine. And I think we don't have to think about how to make the garments we are used to with new technologies, rather rethink the garments with the limitations we got. So maybe the way we construct the patterns will be different in the future. Maybe the way we put the garments together will be different in the future. So actually, I think technology will lead to a total new look of garments in the end.
And I just want to add, so we are looking more into really individual customization, so per person, to be able to have like new opportunities to deliver to the customers. And we also have big interested in the way that things look, because we see there's a new layer of opportunity when it comes to the design elements a designer is able to work with. That means that if you maybe know generative art design or artworks, you could define pieces of a garment which are able to look individually or every time different, which gives the designer a new layer of thinking his designs, because normally he has like an absolute thinking, maybe with some color schemes and themes, but this is a revolution in this in the way we design things, where we can have very interesting new designs, and also the question how the seam is looking, because the seam could just not be something that holds pieces together. It could also be a design element which is running into the thing that you're producing. So yeah, that's the thing that we are looking into it right now with these situations and stuff.
So to conclude, maybe, I don't know if you want to add an idea about this topic of made in local and optimized production. My last question was, what innovation and project are you passionate about and are occupying you at the moment, with a view to best responding to this problem of hyper-local manufacturing of brands? I don't know if you want to talk about specific approach, or then we will jump to the question, because I saw that you want to ask something.
One project that we are working on at Cocorico is we are trying to answer what you were saying, that sometimes ethic garments are also very expensive, and if you are ethic but not democratic, well, are you very ethic? It's a question. So we are launching a brand. I mean, we are working on launching a brand B2C, so for people, not companies. And our main goal was to create a T-shirt that was 100% bio certified and made in France, textile and manufacturer, but that will be 9.99 to make a little joke to their aggressive marketing, because it's everything, as I was saying, about the consumer and the brands, and our companies, and our responsibility is to give a responsible choice to the people, because they cannot maybe create their own choice because they are not fashion factories. So it's our job to do that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Something I'm really looking forward, or what I'm passionate about, it's not a personal project we are currently doing, but what I definitely see is probably a brandless future, where with all this blockchain technology currently evolving, it probably lead to brands offering their knowledge because they suddenly can license it, and they are still being the originators of their knowledge, and maybe it will lead to opening up, sharing patterns, sharing designs, and maybe producing garments where it's needed, but still somehow everybody gets their piece of the cake. And that's something I'm really excited about at the moment, and I think that will revolutionize how we do business and how we work together in the end. So
I just may add, for us it's very important that this is a community effort that we are having. So there's like people which are more into recycling, people which are more into sourcing, which we are having a quite good exchange European-wide now, also out of a European research project that we were having as Yokai as well. And so there we see a lot of opportunities coming together and to have communications between the people which are wanting to have their things being produced, which Forsos is also doing, to really have like an interaction between the people which are trying to get something produced and the people which are offering production capacities to have this deeper exchange is something that we are very passionate about, and we think is the mainly future of we will create a new way of designing and producing in a long-term vision of production, because in the end we all know the resources that we have are limited. It was mentioned before anyway. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have two sides of being passionate. So I have a business side based on Forsos. I would love to connect more and more people to have a successful business together, of course, to have a transparent supply chain, to connect them, to find the right suppliers for the buyers, and also find the best business partners for our suppliers and our sourcing platform. So this is, of course, I'm super passionate about this because I think transparency is the future. On a personal approach in the textile industry, so being in this industry for 10 years, I think, so I really love the topic about automated production, and I also would love to see a better attitude in our industry to at least have more social and fair supply chains. So this is also a really passion project from my side. Yeah, so this is what I would like to see.
Great.
Want me to go? So I would say at SETI, you know what is our loft project, of course, is to help to support companies to work textile to textile. So what does it mean? You know, it's really thinking about product development in a circularity economic way. You know, so really producing, creating, starting from, you know, coming from what comes from the ground, from the seas, until, you know, the full process, and getting back to reusing, you know, upcycling fabrics, components, and doing a full chain in a circularity way. So this is our project for future.
And on our side at Tekin, we spent the first 3 years of Tekin like in a R&D laboratory and making sure that all what we thought was correct for the industry was real. 1 year ago, yes, clearly there was all the results, and now we are just displaying the technologies to all the community and all the partners. And I'm talking about brands, I'm talking about workshops, weavers, and all those people that really wants to build a responsible and a sustainable textile industry. And that's what I'm really excited about, is that this is growing and this is going fast, and I think that's good news for the planet that is going fast.
For sure.
To go slower in the end.
So we have time for one question. So I think it's for you, definitely.
Thank you. So I understand what is good in the on-demand production, but the key point for me is regarding the fabric. And we all know that for profitability, the fabric manufacturer must weave a certain quantity of meters. So how can we match the production on demand for the finished product with this question of fabric production minimum order quantity, which was requested? And so I agree with you. With your jean, it's more easy because they decided 1083, I imagine the brand name. They decided to use only 4-5 fabrics. So then they can have stocks in these materials and product on demand, the finished product. But we must know that at the beginning, the fabric must be in a certain quantity for profitability and even for quality level of the fabric itself. So, voilà, it's just a point I wanted to raise. Maybe you can, of course, answer, but
I'll try to be very quick.
So very important.
So again, what's important is not the price, but it's the price the brand makes at the end. So I'm saying that because when we started, we went to the workshop saying, okay, we are not going to order 3,000 pieces, but we are going to book 3,000 pieces within 10 weeks, and every week we are going to send you 300 different pieces. And so half of the workshop
this is okay.
Half of the workshop saying, no way, you are going to change the way I'm organized. There is no way, I cannot do that. And I know also that the price I'm going to give you is not going to be suitable. And we said, we don't care. Give us the right price to do that. And we will look at the bottom line 9 months later, once the brand make all the once we make all the simulations, when we compare those 3,000 pieces in one shot and those 300 pieces within 10 weeks. And this is so this is what we did with the workshop. I agree this is probably harder to do with the waivers and etc. But there is solutions. There is solutions for the printings, and this is all the lean manufacturing way is to like break down in smaller batches. So that you reduce the amount of error, you reduce all the issue. I mean, that's a big industrial theory, but it's possible, and it's made possible producing cars. So if we cannot if the waiver cannot do that with textile, I think there's an issue. And we are in discussion with many waivers, French and others, that are telling us it's possible. You look, for example, Les Tissages Charlieu. They say, okay, we have Tissage Jacquard. This is automated waving, and we can launch 100 meters. There's no issue. Maybe there is an additional cost, but we say, okay, we don't care because we get it from the fact that we are not overproducing, paying discounts and organizing discounts. Sorry.
Peut-être vous pouvez discuter encore au-delà de cette table ronde parce qu'on voit bien que toutes les problématiques ne seront pas levées en une heure de temps, mais déjà on a une partie des réponses grâce à vos interventions. So we have many different ideas here that you can discuss further with the audience. And now we have another roundtable about how blockchains and AI can help to solve those issues as well. So thank you so much to everyone for this very interesting conversation. And I hope that we will see your new project coming soon. And I will follow each of you because I'm really convinced that you are changing the way we make fashion for good. And yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.